What does the future of Bitcoin and crypto look like? We have some numbers in from the institutions. Morgan Stanley, it's been 1 week and 1 day since they allowed their investment advisors to push the Bitcoin ETF. How much Bitcoin do they hold after 8 days? The number might surprise you. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about macro, a new indicator that shows that a recession is coming, and it's a very interesting one. We'll talk about that. Also, the Crypto for Harris campaign had their Zoom meeting yesterday. We have a couple clips to share with you. What are some of the good things and some of the bad things that came out of that? We also have a very special in-studio guest. Rob from Digital Asset News will be joining us. We have a lot to talk about today. The markets are currently going down. Ethereum is down 3% on the 1 hour. Will the downside price action continue? We're going to talk about that and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, and stale information and repackage that whole thing up in a fun and sexy way. The conference is here. Rare Evo is here. And for our Cardano fans community, well, you're about to get a treasure trove of information, all Cardano, but there's also some other tidbits in there to sprinkle in ICP.
You know, today's a very 50-50 day, right? On one hand, I'm really excited because of Rob in studio. But on the other hand, come to realize that throughout the show, I'm going to have to refer to you as Big Rob.
Yeah.
Not very happy about that. But speaking of Robs, my favorite Rob is in studio. We have Rob from Digital Asset News, who blessed us with his presence in studio. He's joining us for the entirety of the show. Rob, welcome to Sin City Studios. How are you doing?
That's a hell of an intro. Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me here. This is good times. I actually lived here 2015, 2016, so it's good to come back to Las Vegas and just see how much it hasn't changed. So
The weather is getting hotter. But we're excited to have you on the show, man. Welcome in. We've had Rob on our channel via video call. This is his first time in studio, and so we're super excited. We also have a big guest coming in studio tomorrow as well. It's the beauty of having a studio is when some of the amazing people in our space come to Las Vegas. We can bring them in the studio, bring them on the show, and let you hear some of their insights. We do have a lot to talk about today, so let's just jump right in. The title of today's show is Bitcoin and Crypto's Future. There is so much happening in Bitcoin, in crypto, in macro, election season. We talked about the whole Mpox outbreak yesterday. A lot of people are kind of on the fence. Bitcoin goes up. Everyone thinks it's going to rally. It goes back down. Well, let's dig in and take a look at what is actually happening under the hood. Let's start here. Let's start with this article from Cointelegraph. 2/3 of institutional Bitcoin ETF holders either held or bought in Q2 of this year. That is 66%, right? We always, we had this conversation, Big Rob and I on the show, is, hey, are these people that are going to get into the ETF, are they net buyers long, or the net holders long term? Are they diamond hands? Are they just looking to get a 20-30% clip and then dip or dump their coins, dump their positions? Well, the numbers say a majority of them have held or bought, as stated by this article. According to 13F filings with the SEC, 44% of asset managers increased their Bitcoin ETF positions in the second quarter, while 22% held steady. Only 21% decreased their positions and 13% exited completely, which is, quote, a pretty good result on par with other ETFs. This is a quote from, I believe this is Matt Hogan. If you thought institutional investors would panic at the first sign of volatility, the data suggests otherwise. They're pretty steady. I mentioned Morgan Stanley, right? It's been 8 days since they opened up the ETF products for their RIAs or investment advisors to kind of essentially shill to their clients. And they've revealed $187 million Bitcoin allocation just a week after pitching it to their clients. Wall Street is waking up. This is from Simply Bitcoin. And to kind of wrap this ETF talk up, taking a look at the ETF flows. So far this week, we've had 2 days of positive inflows and 1 day of negative. So outflows. Yesterday, we saw $81 million flow out of the Bitcoin ETFs, including $57 million from Grayscale and $18 million flowing out of Fidelity. So I will start with Rob first. What are your thoughts? What are we, 7-8 months in, Rob? ETFs have been live. We're approaching $20 billion. And this article that talked about, 66% either held or bought more. What does that say to you? And what's your kind of outlook, looking forward through the rest of the year and maybe going into Q1 of next year?
If you think about it, 66% held, but the other, 34%, how much do they sell off? I think that's a big thing. So if you have 66% and they, either accumulated or they held, how much did they buy into it? And how much did the other ones who sold, was it an uneven distribution? And you put it up there, which is pretty good, which was the flows.
Right.
There's one that I take a look at. It's called heyapollo.com, and it takes a look at our net flows. So, of course, when the ETFs are buying, it's great. Everybody's happy. But how much are they buying? And how much and who is actually selling? So what I like to see is with Hey Apollo, when I take a look at it, is you can see that the net flow has been positive from day one, right? So from the day that we started, going from January all the way to today, I think we're right now around 292.3, somewhere around there. And it looks pretty good. Now, if we take a look at the Ethereum ETF, it's mostly negative flows. And it just keeps getting sold off. And that's because of our friends at Grayscale. Shout out to Grayscale. Thanks for dumping on us.
Thanks, Grayscale. We appreciate it. Rob, this is kind of what you were talking about, right? On the screen here from Hey Apollo.
Right. So scroll down on this one. So see those flows right there?
Yeah.
Zoom into there. And then on the left-hand side, you can see right here when we start on the very first day, everybody's excited. Remember that day? Man, I wish I could go back. That'd be sweet.
Me
go
too.
back and be like, oh, this is great. We're going to go to the moon. It's going to be happening, everybody. And then, kind of lackluster a little bit. And then it kind of just went up. And we went down. And then, of course, March, we had a nice little month.
Yeah.
And if you take a look, actually, at the time when we had the all-time highs, around 72, 73,000, not so much that it corresponded to the ETFs. It was nice and there was great flows, but as time goes on, you take a look at it ETFs are part of the equation, but who's selling and who's really doing things? And this is the thing that I think really frustrates people because we get Bitcoin, we understand it, we understand the investments that we're doing, at least most of us do.
Yeah.
So when we think about it, we're like, why aren't other people seeing it? And we forget the fact that there's people that want to sell. They want to dump, they want to manipulate, they want to play leverage games, they want to trade and do all these things around it. And it's just going to be like that for quite some time. It's volatile. That's why we're here. So if we're thinking about, what you just talked about, it's good. But of course, we're going to talk more about the bigger story.
Right. No, people like Michael Saylor say, volatility for Bitcoin is actually, it's a feature, not a bug, right? And so the question has always been, hey, and I've kind of brought this up in conversation is, if stuff hits the fan and you have these Wall Street investors, right, who have just gotten exposure to Bitcoin 6-7 months ago, when it's time to consolidate their portfolio, are you going to dump the stock that you've been in and held and get dividends from for the last 6 years? Or is it going to be the new thing that you got exposure to 7 months ago that is very volatile? You don't really care about the ethos of it. You just care about number go up, and I want percentage returns. What is that going to look like in a potential bad macro environment? Big Rob, I'm going to ask you this kind of the same question. But the flows, like Rob mentioned, have been just positive pretty much the entire time, looking at this flow chart. But what are your thoughts on after, essentially 7 months of data, that 66% have either bought or held, and only 13% have completely exited their position?
Yeah, I mean, Wall Street's going to be a long-term investor, right? At least at this point in the market. Who have we seen so far? There have been some pension funds. We have the Wisconsin Investment Board. They picked up $164 million worth of Bitcoin. Think of a pension fund. They're not going to be buying for the short term. They're just going to be repeat buyers. They're going to keep layering in. They're going to keep increasing their position or their portfolio. Now, maybe they rebalance if the price goes up. Maybe they have we're supposed to have a 5% allocation or 4 or 3. So, yes, they may sell down the road, but I mean, these style of investors are going to be long-term holders, buyers of
of Bitcoin intermittently, almost like a DCA strategy. Also, you got your banks. We had Morgan Stanley come out this week as well. They're going to be buying in the same way, right? They're not going to be buying for the short term for a swing trade. And maybe we see a reversal of this on the back end of the bull market, but I mean, ultimately, this is what Wall Street does. They get a position and they keep increasing their position slowly but surely. I don't think that any institution is going to come out, or at least majority of the institutions are going to come out, buy Bitcoin, and then sell 3 months later. If anything, they're going to be in a hodl position, or at least a longer term position, and we're going to see more of it. And then also you have traders as well, or at least the Wall Street. The savvy Wall Street investor that's
Well,
just gonna,
they short the futures and long the spot.
there are degens in Wall Street as well.
That.
Yeah,
they've been doing that.
Yeah, but I mean, how many institutional grade traders have wanted a position on Bitcoin, but yet are not comfortable with taking company money or at least investor money and putting it into Coinbase? But I don't know. It's no surprise to me. And I think this is going to escalate and ramp up, especially when household names become more and more present in Bitcoin. When you see the Morgan Stanley, when you see the BlackRocks and JP Morgan Chase, as these become more and more common to, hey, they're increasing their position on Bitcoin, so will the naysayers, the non-believers, people that don't have exposure to it right now, on the outside looking in and be like, well, all of our competitors or all of our friends have a position, so why don't we start getting a little skin in the game? But I do think that this will reverse during a bear market once we get to that top, once we get to that euphoric situation where Bitcoin hits that six figures and we're on the back end of 2025 and we see Bitcoin sell off 60, 70, maybe 80%. Will Wall Street exit the position? I think so. Now, whether it's forced selling because of leverage plays, I 100% agree. We saw it with the internet era. We saw it, with the .com boom. Mm-hmm. We've seen too much leverage in the housing market in 2008. So I don't think that.
I think the whole economy's leverage.
Yeah. So I don't think that you're going to have some exception here and say, hey, look, Wall Street is savvy business guys. They're going to trade this market, in a safe and professional manner. And so
wait, they're not?
They're definitely not. But for the foreseeable future, during this bull market, we're going to get a lot more accumulation from institutions, banks, and also nation states. I think that's around the corner as well. I don't think that we've even seen that even scratch the surface. And so maybe with Donald Trump coming in office, if he were to win, with the strategic reserve and the U.S.'s position on Bitcoin, at least holding what we already hold and not selling, and then therefore accumulating afterwards, I think will signal to the rest of the world that the U.S. is backing up their economy with Bitcoin, at least in some proportion, and others will follow suit, particularly Europe, I think.
Well, it becomes an arms race, right?
What does the U.S. do in a economical fashion that isn't copied by other European nations?
Well,
right?
I mean,
we cut interest rates. Other people cut interest rates. I mean, we do X, Y, and Z when it comes to commodities, as far as oil and gold, things of that nature. Other countries follow suit as well. And so, if we take a position on Bitcoin, if Trump comes in office, all of a sudden we got a strategic reserve. That European countries are going to follow. I mean, other countries will as well, but
maybe they'll have a meme coin reserve.
No, they won't. No, I'm kidding. But like all these things that we talk about, and we want this reserve to come in and play. And then, well, you guys weren't there at Nashville, were you?
I
was.
Yeah, that's right, Rob. Yeah. So and then we heard Trump talk, and he talked about this reserve, and we're like, oh, this is great. And then what was it, like a week later, somewhere around there, that the government transferred from the DOJ and then they
Coinbase.
Did they sell that one off?
They haven't sold yet, but it's in Coinbase Prime, and so Prime has two functions. They either long-term custodian or they sell OTC. So you speculate here. There's been no press release. Now, I think that if there was a sell from the U.S. government, I think it would come after the fact. I don't think that they would announce, hey, we're about to sell this Bitcoin position.
Yeah.
And so maybe they sold already. Maybe that transfer to Coinbase Prime was the
OTC
actual sell. It could be the sell, and the U.S. could have a smaller position on Bitcoin. Now, I know they just moved 10,000 yesterday.
Yeah.
At 10,000 Bitcoin, and so was it a sell? Was it a long-term hold? We would like to see Kamala and the executive branch come out and say, hey, you know what? We're going to jump the gun. We're going to get ahead of Trump's promise here, and we've already done it.
Yeah, good luck with that.
But
I want to give a big shout out to Zindagi, who said, "I just smashed MarketBot $100 in Bitcoin."
Wow.
Congratulations to you, my friend. That's a good move. Just buy Bitcoin. I do want to talk about the miners, and so a lot of people, a lot of analysts, right, fundamental analysts, they take a look at one of the big things they look at is miners, right, miner capitulation, miner distribution, miner accumulation, and there's one miner indicator, if you want to call it an indicator, right? What do their reserves look like? And it has a direct correlation to price. So Bitcoin miner reserves reach 2021 levels, right? What this means, so the Bitcoin miner reserves can serve as a good indicator of whether a sell-off is coming for Bitcoin. Usually, the higher their reserves, the higher the chance that these miners will begin selling in a bid to secure profits. However, once the reserves plummet, it not only signals an end to the sell-off, because, well, they don't have any more to sell off, but it also means fewer coins are left for the miners to sell if they continue to sell. And we know since to halving, instead of 900 Bitcoin mined a day, that was halved to 450. This time around, the Bitcoin miner reserves have fallen to a January 2021 level, which could have some positive implications for the markets, bringing in a 5-year low, as put here by the chart by Marty Party on X. And so, well, what did the price do here, gentlemen, back in January 2021? It went on to make its first all-time high from around, call it 20K-ish, 25K, all the way to $58,000. Are you expecting a similar run-up? And before I go to you, Rob, one thing I also want you to keep in mind is Marathon just bought some Bitcoin. Initial plan, 250 million. End goal, or what ended up happening, was 300 million. So 50 million more than what they were anticipating and ready. So they used that money to buy Bitcoin. But Rob, how much do you put into this miner reserve indicator? And do you think that we're like that slingshot has just been pulled back so long that we're ready for a big, massive move up?
Well, we all hope so, right? We all hope and pray that it's what's going to be. But I would just stress that, and we just talked about this today. It was at the NFA live show, and if we take a look at the macro, we got to take a look at, well, where's the liquidity coming from,
Right?
And where are these things actually happening? Because we know, the rate cuts are around the corner.
Yeah.
If this happens, it's because the economy's not doing so damn good. And if that's the case, then the big R word comes out, recession, and people get spooked, and then we have a little bit of a drawdown. So when I see this, I think this is great for the people that are watching this show right now, because right now, maybe you don't have 100,000 people watching, right? Maybe it's not so much, but the ones that are watching right now, they get it. They understand where the puck is going, not where the puck is currently.
Right.
So these guys, and the reason why they're buying Bitcoin is because they have access to data that we don't have. And if they're looking at that going, you know what, we need to buy more because of where we think things are going,
Interesting.
then it's a pretty good play. But the thing is, though, it takes time and it sucks because people think to themselves, I want it now. And we're going to talk about Pump Fun, where all the gamblers go to, which is fine. We're in Vegas. I'm not going to crucify anybody. It is gambling. And that's fine. I got no problem with that. But the ones that look at this and go, okay, if I can do this and I can hold on for the next 12, 18, 24, 36 months, I'll be rewarded. But it's a delayed gratification. No one wants to do that, especially right now. So I like this, but I like it for long term. As long as people understand that, they're good. If they don't, then it's going to be really painful. And that's really what it comes down to.
And people tout, right? People in the investment world and Wall Street, they tout, 8% gains over a 30-year period, right?
Yeah.
And some of us, and this was me in my early days of getting into crypto, right? It's like, I want that 8% today. I want that, 5x in the next month. And so what we got to realize is This thing is more of a long-term play. And Rob, you mentioned macro. You also mentioned recession. There is one indicator, and I don't know. Tell me, guys, if you've ever heard of this. This is the lipstick index. Okay, hear me out here. The lipstick index. Before you laugh, let me explain. Apparently, economic studies show that during a recession, women purchase more lipstick and makeup over purses and dresses, which actually makes Ulta a defensive name in the stock market. And, well, gentlemen, if you remember, Warren Buffett's portfolio position was shared yesterday. And what did he do? Warren Buffett has bought, let's take a look here. Oh, look at that. Ulta Beauty bought $266 million worth of Ulta. Warren Buffett's all in, recession, cash on the sidelines, exited the...
I'm just curious, is in-house correspondent Ashley, is she wearing lipstick today? Ashley,
that's weird.
where you at? Don't hide. Don't hide. Don't you do it.
Wow, way to put her on the spot, Robin.
She's like, I can't afford a lipstick in this economy. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
thanks, Robin. Now she's going to ask us for a raise. No, Ashley, the answer is no. Okay, all jokes aside, though, it is interesting, though, that, you know, and gentlemen, a lot of macroeconomists and some of the smartest people, smart money, they look at things like Starbucks. Are their revenues up? Are their revenues down, right? Because that's directly retail. They take a look at other places, right? Amazon, are people spending money? And so this, I mean, we laugh at it, and I said it in jest, but I mean, Warren Buffett sells 50% of his Apple stock and then spends $260 million on Ulta Beauty. And I'm looking here, and he doesn't.
You're looking way too far into this, man. I bet you it's his wife or daughter or somebody was in his ear.
Because I'm very sure that the most successful investor ever asked his wife, honey, is there anything you'd like me to spend $250 million on?
Just because the man has success, you're thinking that he just ignores his wife and ladies in his family? Like, I'm telling you.
He could just buy her the Ulta store. He doesn't need to buy her stock. Who gives a crap?
She's probably in his ear talking about the price increases of cosmetics and that, hey, the stores are 20 or 50% busier. The lines are longer. All the stores at the mall are closing except for Sephora. And now Sephora is now inside of Macy's and then Ulta's inside of Kohl's. And you know what? There's few industries that are growing at the mall, but there are some that stand out. And maybe, I'm telling you, maybe the smart money on Wall Street is looking at a sector
Is Warren Buffett's wife.
that is bulletproof, and maybe he's got inside information from friends and family.
Or maybe it's the lipstick index, like I mentioned.
It's not the lipstick.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Rob here in a second, but I do want to share two more posts here on X. So a little more on the serious note. The S&P. So guys, remember last Monday, right? People start calling it Black Monday because well, everything just completely nuked. The S&P has now added nearly $4 trillion in market cap since the August 5th bottom 10 days ago. This is $4 trillion in 9 trading days, or $444 billion per day since August 5th. NVIDIA alone has added back nearly $700 billion in market cap. Trillions of dollars are swinging on a daily basis in the market. And then you have this as well. You know, Rob, we talk about retail. The number of credit card and auto loans transitioning into serious delinquency is increasing.
I haven't paid my car note in a couple months.
I believe the number is 1.1 trillion for delinquent credit card accounts. And so why are we sharing this, right? This directly affects and shows what is going on in the world of retail. And, you know, there's always this question of, well, Wall Street's got more money. They drive the markets. Retail, I think retail is really what drives the hype, and then Wall Street just dumps on retail. Rob, what are your thoughts on the macro, where we are, and where retail is, and how important is retail to Bitcoin, maybe get into that 150, 200K level, or can we do it with just Wall Street?
Well, before I go on that one, let me rewind for that lipstick story.
Yeah.
I know it sounds ridiculous. Robin had a good point. Maybe it was his point. But if you think about this, like, let's just say you're average Joe, and you're like, yeah, and you're talking to your friend, like, hey, Pete, I sold 50% of my Apple and went into this lipstick company. Like, you're a moron. You don't know what you're talking about. And like, no, I did a bunch of research. And I think it's gonna pop off. only because of the name, which is Warren Buffett.
Right.
Now, think about that right now with the people that are here in crypto. Like, again, where's the puck going? Is the puck at Apple as far as risk reward, or the puck's going towards lipstick and whatever else? And it's a great play, right? So when we like, I know you watching this video right now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, I don't really know if it's going to do this or that. You know where the puck is going. But not that I'm saying that everybody's Warren Buffett. I'm just saying that if you look at that, it really helps to overcome some of the doubters and the people that say, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, really? Well, after every 4 years, I'm up pretty bunch of an S load.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're doing with your S&P 500, which is fine.
It's got to get a wife like Warren Buffett's. You know?
Yeah,
I mean, if you
exactly.
would have got a position on GameStop back in 2020, I mean, look where
that
you'd be
was-
sitting now.
That was a flash. I mean, that.
But it just goes to show you when the market thinks you're absolutely foolish, and a handful of individuals are over here positioning themselves on what the rest of the market deems as, well, that's dumb. That's where the money's made, right? And we talk about it in crypto is the best example. You know, you look at some small projects, some layer one nobody's ever heard of, somebody's hyping it up, or there's some meme coin, or, you know, I mean, even think that the advent of NFTs, when you first got exposure to NFTs or you first heard about it, a lot of people just were dismissive. And the same thing with Bitcoin. I mean, it's just investment in general. Once everyone agrees that it's a sound, smart investment, the X's are gone, right? And so, yeah, cosmetics isn't some small, tiny industry that nobody's ever heard of, but at the same time, it's not something that is in the crosshairs of the world's most successful investor, or at least the most elite. And so, I don't know. I think it's something to take notice of. And, you know, as you think something's not going to rally more, I know when I was looking at NVIDIA stock in 2021 and its massive run, you probably thought, oh, that was the top, you know. But look, it just keeps returning more and more gains every single month. And I know in the last 2 months it's pulled back, but still from where it was in its original glory to where it is now, I think that there's a lot more room to run for certain industries, and perhaps there's a lot more room to run for cosmetics. And maybe we'll see some meme coins in cosmetics. Maybe we'll get
I was gonna say, I was gonna pull up Dex tools and see how many Ulta or lipstick.
I feel like that some dog with like
Lipstick.
yeah, lipstick. I think that's you know what. Matter of fact, dog lipstick. Let's not bring that up. So
Yeah, that's
that's
a good idea. Guys, the markets are kind of Bitcoin's down. I mean, these are hourly candles, two big red ones, 57.8.
Nice.
So, Rob, what are your thoughts on the market? You know, yesterday we shared the CPI, right? CPI came in under 3%, and Bitcoin dipped. What do you say if you're having a conversation, right? If me and you're having a conversation, and I'm a newbie, this is my first cycle, and I'm sitting here and across you, I'm saying, well, shouldn't that be bullish? Right? We talk about the Fed cutting rates, more liquidity. Why is Bitcoin going down? Well, what's kind of your
we moved from 59,000 to 57 just in the last 30 minutes.
Yeah. So the question is, if you're a newbie person, you're looking at this and going, hey, this macroeconomic data comes in, it should be positive. S&P 500's up, NASDAQ's up. So why isn't Bitcoin up? Because you told me it was a store of value, right? So now you look at that and you go, look, this is the problem. Not a problem. This is probably one of the assets of what Bitcoin is, and it's very volatile. We understand.
Not to cut you off, Rob, but I mean, the Dow Jones is up 500 points.
Yeah.
And NASDAQ is up 2.3%.
So
and we have Bitcoin kind of not tanking, but spilling off.
Yeah. So if you take a look at that and you say to yourself, well, shouldn't everything go up? And you have to understand that in this situation, for the gains that are being made, and this is why I'm always talking about this on my show, you need to take profits. And people just believe everything goes up in a straight line. So I say, I'm like, look, on these situations, when there's like massive gains to be had and everybody thinks it's going to go one way, what do people usually do? They usually sell and they take some pretty massive profits. It's not like we are a 30, 40, $50 trillion market. I mean, we're barely over 2. We're like at 2.1. So you're telling me that, and this is the thing that I always tell people, like, it doesn't take much to move this market. I know we don't like to say that. And of course, if our friend Gigi is here. So somebody starts to sell, right? What happens? Then there's an algorithm that picks it up. Then bots start to sell.
Yep.
Then people who are short or long in the situation,
Leveraged.
then they get leveraged up and they get liquidated. And then what happens? It starts to do a cascade effect, and you have these problems. So I always look at this and go, look, I can tell you a ton of different reasons why this could actually happen, like we just talked about. I could tell you why. Really, what it comes down to is this. So right now, there is more sellers than there are buyers. So you have to take a look at it in two different ways. How do you want to play this? Do you look at this as like this is the worst thing of all time, or going back to where's the puck going? Do you think to yourself, maybe I should actually pick this up because this is where the money's made? Or maybe I just don't do anything because I'm too scared.
Right.
Either of those are pretty good. The last thing you want to do is sell into weakness. So you can do those things. So when I'm telling people, I'm like, look, I can tell you a bunch of reasons, but here's really what it comes down to. What are you going to do and how are you going to handle this?
Right.
That's
That's
it.
a good point, man. I like that. Keep it simple, right? As simple as you could possibly be. What are your thoughts here on tapping in the markets, Robin? Have we decoupled in a bad way for Bitcoin and the macro market? Let's talk about decoupling in a positive light. Well,
Now, we brought up an interesting point, like, where people always liken the movement of Bitcoin in contrast to the index funds and saying, hey, it's supposed to be a store of value. The GDP or economy is moving in this direction. Bitcoin just pulled back this week. And, just remember there are ebbs and flows, or if you think of the market kind of like a tide, if you're standing at the shoreline and the water hits your feet at low tide and you're like, all right, well, the water pulls back, those are like the movement of the markets. But if high tide is coming, that, the water level is going to get higher and higher, or at least further up the shore. Doesn't matter what the small term waves come in. If you get one wave that comes in, it goes a little further than you expect. Remember that the tide is going to move in. We're going into a bull market. And I think the bull market is like the coming of the high tide. And whether or not a wave comes in or rolls out, and you drop an analysis of where the water line is just off of a simple wave, think about the fact that the tide is moving in and that we are going into the bull market. We are post-halving. There are tons of institutions, large buyers, whales that are accumulating Bitcoin, and there's only so much supply to go around. And this supply gets pulled from the order books. The order books directly affect the price. And so I say to those of you that doubt it's a hedge against inflation, store of value, to look at it from a zoomed out perspective and to know that where the direction of fiat currency is, the direction of our economy, what direction is that going? And then look at the direction of Bitcoin, scarce assets, desirable commodities. It's all trending in the same direction. And so whether or not you take a position on gold, you take a position on fine art, or position on Bitcoin, when leveraged or when compared against fiat, you know that over time it's going to win out. What the moves are in the short term, who knows? I'm very curious to see how far Bitcoin will drop today. I'm a little beside myself here. We started the show right at 60K.
I'm actually beside you. But
you are, but
Da-da-da.
now, we started the show at 10:45. We were at 59.5. And so you see that just in the last 45 minutes,
wow,
we lost almost $3,000, 2,000 and some change here.
Congratulations.
And so
We did it.
how
You're welcome.
far will Bitcoin drop? I want to know. I want to ask the chat. I know I want to get your guys' perspective. Where do you think the price of Bitcoin is going by the end of the day? Do you think that we'll test 55,000 by the end of the day, or do you think that this short-term drop will rebound back up to 60K? Put a 1 in the chat if you think we're going to 55 by the end of the night. Put a 2 in the chat if you think that we'll go to 59, 60,000 by the end of the day.
we're seeing, and I'm just going to share my chart. So I do have my Lux Algo price action concepts on here. And it looks like we're getting a little bit of a liquidity grab on the 1 hour candle here. As you can see it outlined on the wick on the bottom. As we've come into this discount zone, which historically, you take a look back here, we've wicked down there twice and price has reacted very positively. So we can see an immediate reversal. But if we don't, I would like to go to the 4 hour, and I like to throw on my Ichimoku cloud. And, the bottom of this cloud, if this candle continues, 55.9 would be a place that I'd feel comfortable if you are a trader to enter into a position, or if you're, which I do not recommend, if you're looking to get the absolute best price, and I don't want to say time the bottom because no one can truly time the bottom, But if this is like, hey, I want the absolute best price, I'm willing to take the risk of potential upside if it does reverse. 55.9 would be an area that I'd be looking at. But again, Bitcoin is something for me at least, and I'm pretty sure for everyone in this room, it's a long-term play, right? Some of the other meme coins, as Rob said, gambling, right? Those are more short-term flips. Those are not things you want to hold on to long-term, right? But something like Bitcoin, right? If you get the ethos of Bitcoin and you believe in it long-term, it's not something that you go and buy and sell on a 1 hour unless you're an avid trader. And so those are kind of just my thoughts.
Yikes! Selling the hour? Aye.
What happened?
No, if selling on the hour for Bitcoin, can you imagine?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
hats
can't.
off to the
No.
traders out there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, unless I know there's traders, and I know some of them 5-minute charts, long positions, right? Enter a 10x leverage and moves 2% or 1.5%, and they made their money and they're out. But for me, when I think about Bitcoin, for me, my Bitcoin is a long-term hold strategy. I want to be able to pass that Bitcoin on to my kids, in the future. And so for me, 1 hour chart doesn't really matter. You buy the dips, have a DCA strategy, keep it super simple. The other more speculative stuff, if that's what you're into and you want the higher risk, very high risk, high reward, then Bitcoin is not it. Bitcoin to me, at least, is more of a long-term play. So I want to talk a little bit about, I did mention the Crypto for Harris Zoom call happened yesterday. And this was Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer talking about potentially getting a legislation passed by the end of the year. So let's take a listen.
So it's great to be here for everybody with so many leaders in crypto. And I appreciate this great invitation. First, let me thank Mark, not only for his introduction, but as I said, for doing so many good things in so many good areas. This guy cares about things and he calls me up about them all the time. Make this part of the world better, that part of the world better, etc. I also want to thank Sheila Warren and all of you for being here. Now, there's great enthusiasm for the Harris wall ticket from every corner of our country. You can feel it, you can see it, you can smell it. It's gotten Democrats and Americans as a whole who are worried about the advent of Donald Trump so excited. And why are we here today? Because we all support Vice President Kamala Harris to be our next president, and we all believe in the future of crypto, as Mark outlined. I believe in my bones that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will win this election. They'll lead Democrats to the majority, we'll keep the majority in the Senate, we'll get the majority in the House, and then there ain't nothing stopping us.
Great.
Now, being here with you today is very important, and that's why I made time on my schedule here. Crypto's been around, of course, for over a decade. It's grown more influential than anyone could have anticipated years ago. Each and every day, as Mark said, it's not an elite thing. An estimated 20% of Americans use these assets, and this will only grow in size and scale. I believe that Congress has a responsibility to provide common sense and sound regulation on crypto, and we need your support to make sure that any proposal is bipartisan. That's the only way we get things done. Ultimately, my goal when it comes to crypto regulation is this. I want to bring members on both sides of the aisle here in the Senate together, create momentum so we can pass sensible legislation that helps the United States maintain its status as the most innovative country in the world. My goal is to get something passed out of the Senate and into law by the end of the year, and I believe we can make that happen. I think we should strike a balance for crypto between promoting innovation and providing common sense guardrails.
Where were you over the last 4 years when we were trying to do this, Mr. Schumer? Then we have Eleanor Tourette posting this. Another thing I heard a lot of tonight was pro-crypto Democrats saying that with Kamala Harris, we have a clean slate and she won't be like Biden when it comes to crypto policy. But it's been pointed out that many times that Senator Warren and her associates have been heavily involved in crafting many of Biden's economic and financial policies. Warren has endorsed Harris, and Harris knows how powerful an ally Warren is. So while Harris might have her own ideas, will she be able to break from Warren on crypto? Also, Eleanor Tourette, Florida Congressman Darren Soto says he and his colleagues on the Block Caucus are calling on Kamala Harris to do three main things when it comes to crypto. One, repeal and reform SOB 121, which was passed, but Biden vetoed it. pass the Fit 21 bill and work with Congress to pass a final bill to establish clear rules of the road and encourage her to recognize the importance of crypto, specifically the remittances aspect. You know, they can't even get a stable coin bill in. And that's pretty damn simple. Backed 1-to-1, and it's got to go through a chartered bank or whatever you want to throw in there. It's simple, and we can't even get that. Good luck. Have fun trying to figure out how to regulate DeFi and wallets. And I don't know. I'll go to you first, Big Rob. What are your thoughts? And I would like to note, Kamala Harris was not on the call yesterday.
Yeah, no. It's funny that he was saying it's extremely important that I'm here, that we're in attendance, that we're talking about this. And the one person that is running for president, the candidate here that has the representatives meeting and discussing how important of an issue it is, has yet to come out and have a public statement from her own lips. All we've seen is press releases, or at least some rumblings that they're going to have some meeting. They've talked to insiders at high-level positions at crypto companies to discuss their crypto positioning, but she hasn't come out and said anything about her stance, what she's going to do, what she's campaigning on. Nothing. It's been absolute silence. All we've heard from is the puppets that work underneath her. I will say this. I'm deeply concerned that if she is elected, where crypto will go. And, you know, Choke Point 2.0 is not a theory. We know that Choke Point, the first one, was a real was something that politicians knew about, that they discussed internally, and they've tried to brush this 2.0 one around, or try to dismiss it. But it's real. It's here. We've seen crypto banks close under the current administration that Kamala Harris resides under. We've seen Wells notice at every single U.S.-based exchange.
Sob 121?
Yeah, Sob 121 got vetoed just, what was it, 4 or 5 months ago. And so you give me no glimmer of hope. And I'm not dismissive here and just saying, hey, this candidate sucks. I'm just looking at it just from a track record.
I'll say it. This candidate sucks.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just from a track record, just from where is your positioning. And so I don't believe any of it. I'm not sitting here saying that everything that Trump is saying, all the gospel is going to, turn into regulation and laws and executive orders. I mean, I'm sure he's going to overpromise, under-deliver, as most politicians do on all of the campaign strategies. But at least he'll probably fulfill some of them. If not, I don't expect him to come in and have a full reversal and all of a sudden try to shut down the industry, which I think is the direction that we're currently going with the administration that's in office. And that administration is up for re-election. And they're saying they're doing one thing, but they have yet to come out and even say how they're going to do it. How are you going to be Kamala for crypto? Like, what does that mean? You have the slogan, but you haven't delivered anything. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like, if you have a slogan, if you say healthcare for everyone, if that's what you're campaigning on, I'm sure you're going to be like, hey, healthcare for everyone. This is what we're thinking about. This is how we're going to
Everyone's getting $1 million. Yeah. Great, but how are you going to...
Exactly. If you're going to change the education system, usually you're campaigning on it. You're going to have some form of like, hey, this is what we want to do. If you're campaigning on crypto, then what are you doing? Like, give me something, man. Real quick, I just wanted to give a little love to the chat real quick. We got 280 people, so pretty good turnout today. We had one super chat from Kit Kats, $5. He said he was promoting. He said Big Rob's Crypto Almanac forecasted this. Rob, in case you're wondering, we're putting together.
No, we're not.
I am putting together a Crypto Almanac. Everyone makes fun of me because it's like an outdated term here, just like the Farmer's Almanac, but with crypto. And so we're going to come out with a 2025 guide,
so good, man.
and it's going to have quarterly predictions for all of the favorite cryptos, and it's going to be the Crypto Almanac.
Are you going to buy one, Rob? Say no.
So also French Toaster gifted 5 memberships and also join the center community. And then a few new names here. If you're new, say hello. We'd love to give you a little shout out. We got John Doe, Tellone, Dave P, Muhammad, has everything's going to go to zero apparently. Crypto saying, my name is Knox, I4 Altcoin King 17,000, Celinda Vatican, Zingdai, and Joshua. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Yeah, Kamala sucks.
Rob, I want to, and if you're not comfortable talking about policy and when it comes to politics, feel free not to talk about it. But what are your thoughts on yesterday? And what are your thoughts on, 3 months out of the election? Are you expecting a lot of volatility? We're seeing the poly market odds. Kamala's almost 10 points ahead of Trump now. Could that be a reason the markets are going down? What does your future look like to you, whether it's a Democrat, a Republican, or just the volatility going into November?
Well, first, let me talk about that almanac. If you give me the almanac, if you gift me one, I will talk about it on the show.
All right.
And so what I usually do,
Why?
because my price predictions are awesome, and my price prediction for Bitcoin is, and I've always said this, and I will stick to this. I am 99% sure it's true. Between the next blow off top and the bull run, the Bitcoin price prediction is it's going to be somewhere between $5 and $500,000. And then what I will do is I will say that, and I'll say, but my buddy Robin, he put his own almanac out, and we're going to rip through all these, and we're just going to go through them, and just put it out there. So if you give me one, I'll definitely talk about it. That is going to be great stuff.
Coming soon.
You're not using
to a
company money.
bookstore near you.
Yeah, okay.
Which
The Crypto Almanac 2025.
coming soon to a mall that nobody goes to is going to be this almanac. It's going to be awesome. So to go from that and then to talk about the presidential candidates, I get it. Like when people come to these shows, right? We want to hear about crypto. We want to hear about price predictions. We want to hear about meme coins, and tell me what to buy so I can be a millionaire tomorrow. Why are we talking about these candidates? Well, it's because like on this one subset of what we're talking about, this is very important, right? So I'm not going to talk about like, what are they going to do about the broader economy? What are they going to do about Israel? What are they going to do about the immigration status? That's not my thing, right? But if we're going to talk about this, so Kamala and what she's doing, it's all campaign promises, right? I've been around long enough. I'm an old guy. And I can remember Reagan talking about these different candidates or these different promises, and they never get fulfilled. Then you have somebody else comes out. You have George Bush, you have Clinton, you have George W. And of course, all these guys are going to make promises up and down every day because that's what they're going to do to get elected. Now, my last question is for you guys. Do you think the only reason we're talking about crypto, or the Kamala Harris campaign is talking about crypto and digital assets, is because of one person, and it's Donald Trump? If it wasn't for Trump saying a word about Bitcoin and crypto, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that anybody from Kamala Harris's team would talk about it. So just think about that. The only reason they're talking about that is because it's a campaign promise. And I don't think that they're there. I know Chuck Schumer says, if you rewind that, and somebody will do this later, take out the word crypto and put in blockchain and see which is the same thing that people in China, Xi Jinping, will talk about. And he'll say, he won't say crypto, he'll say blockchain, because that is a technology that he thinks is going to actually revolutionize the world.
Right.
And it's the same type of thing over here. I don't think they're very serious. I'm not saying all Democrats are, totally against it. There are many that are actually reach across the aisle. But in this situation, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm happy to be wrong. And I live in Puerto Rico. I can't even vote for the president of the United States. So it's up to you guys to pick out the right one. Good luck.
Got you, Rob. And to be fair, I don't think everything that Trump has said he's going to do either. I think some of his is pandering. I think I don't trust any politician. I think they're all pandering.
But I don't think he's going to reverse. I don't think he's going to like shut down.
No. He'll be better than what we have right now. And I know that for a fact.
Yeah, and RFK will probably be the best.
Amen.
For that.
I 100% agree. He's the only one, right? Trump can go down stage and say, we're going to put Bitcoin reserve, but it's like, the intricacies, right? We're going to do it. How are you going to?
RFK's got skin in the game.
That's what I'm saying. He's got skin in the game. And on top of that, he's laid out a plan and he talks about it in an intelligent way where all right, this guy gets it. Versus, we like crypto. We're going to be pro-crypto. Awesome. How? What? When? Why?
That part doesn't matter. It's all about promises and talking points. And then don't you think like sometimes it's like they're talking to the kids, like you're like, all right, you guys are a little rambunctious tonight. let's get some ice cream. We'll get some ice cream. Well, just hold on. And it gets a little later.
Ice cream.
Hey, well, can we get some ice cream? Just not in the cards right now. Maybe, maybe tomorrow.
Why are you calling me out right now, Rob?
Because you got 3 kids. And
My
I know,
kids watch the show, okay?
and I know.
You think it's wrong? The other day I took my kids to Dave and Buster's, but I
Nice.
told them, I'm like, look, we're gonna play this racing game that we get real competitive. I was like, if I win, there's no ice cream. If y'all win, either one of y'all from one of my 2 kids, I was like, I'll buy ice cream. I won and I didn't buy him ice cream.
Of course, because you're a good person would have let the kids win so they can get ice cream. Rob is just cheap.
No.
No,
Not
he's
me.
he crushes hopes and dreams because they can grow up stronger.
No, I
There you
told
go.
him, I was like, hey, if you really wanted the ice cream, you should have, you
should have
gotta
played
take
better.
more
You should have been
trips. You
more
should've-
grown up and known how to drive. Shame on you.
You should have had
kids.
better genetics, and you should have been able to do that.
You know,
Yeah.
hey,
You should have.
they're gonna try a lot harder next time. I bet you that.
Exactly.
We are in Vegas, and the 3 of us, we're kind of discussing, the whole meme coins and how it's gambling. Well, take a look at this. Pump.fun, which is essentially call it a launch pad for meme coins, if you want to say, on Ethereum, generates $5.3 million in fees, double that of Ethereum, the whole Ethereum layer 1, double that. Crazy, right? DeFi Llama data shows that the Launchpad generated $5.3 million in fees in the past day alone. At this pace, it is nearly double the $2.3 million by Lido, which is the top DeFi project, top liquidity staking platform on Ethereum. Interestingly, Pump.fun generates more fees than ETH, a network known for charging relatively higher gas fees than all other blockchains. I wouldn't use those words, charging fees, but what does this tell you about like the people right now that are in this space, right? And we haven't had the mass retail come in, right? And we had this conversation early in the show, but what does this signal to you, Rob, as far as where we are in this cycle? And do you think meme coins are here to stay, and are they a net negative or positive for the space as a whole?
So meme coins here to stay. I think we'll back up to NFTs. I mean, we thought NFTs were a flash in the pan, but and they had their run and they fell down. But I think they have an actual intrinsic value. They do. You can do different things with NFTs. You can passes. You can do things with finance and everything else. But I think with meme coins, I'm hesitant to say that they're all going to go away, because let's take a look at the big daddy of all meme coins, Dogecoin. How long has Dogecoin been around?
Long
right?
time.
So if we have something like that and say, well, they're all going to go away, probably not, because there's always going to be somebody here. And someone's going to say, well, it's the community. I mean, look at Pepe Coin, for Pete's sakes. What are they at, like top 30? Somewhere around there?
Pepe is number 25.
So, when I say they're all going to go away, who am I to say anything, right? I'm just some guy that thinks that they're kind of ridiculous. But you've seen a lot of people make a lot of money on this, but you've seen way more people lose a hell of a lot more.
100%.
So like with meme coins, like I always say like this, like if you're going to do it, that's fine. I mean, right? You want to play that one-armed bandit, go right ahead. But what you got to do is, do what I call the half and half method. So once you get into a meme coin, hot fudge Sunday meme, whatever it is, and it doubles, you take half out. Then when it doubles again, you take half out, and doubles again, you take half out. And you keep doing that until it doesn't double. Then you just sit on it. If you would have done the same thing for Ethereum when it was a nickel.
I did that with SHIB, and I 50% of myself out of a $44 million position.
Yeah, but that's one. So that's just it. That's one example. Take a look at the other 20,000 examples for meme coins. And I will tell you like this: even if you did you missed out on this generational wealth type of thing, how much would you have made if you just would have done half?
Yeah.
As opposed to like all the other different other cryptos that are out there that we just say, if it 5x, it'll 10x. If it 10x, it 20x. Before you know, you're like, damn. I didn't get anything. I
On
round
a side
tripped it.
note, I do want to say that I do think NFTs are going to come back.
Yeah.
But not. I'll say this. I think that
Not
there'll be a
monkey
high. No, I think they will. I think there'll be a highly desirable collectible further down the line. In the same way that, hey, you have the video game industry, right? Obviously video games evolved. You have your Call of Duties and your Roblox, but the most expensive video game items that there are these nostalgic, NES games, Atari games, some like weird Super Mario version that, there was only a handful of cartridges in circulation now. These are highly sought after because it has this nostalgic kind of, like properties, right? And so I think that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, as people are crypto millionaires or at least further along in their lives, they'll look back and say, you know what, at one point I had a Bored Ape or a Pudgy Penguin or whatever it is. And it'll be 15 years from now, and that's going to be a collectible item because they're going to want a piece of that kind of memory, right? And that like showboating, like, hey, I got this NFT that was wildly popular in the past. Now, whether or not the ecosystem will be thriving in the future, that I don't know. But I think that if you get some of these desirable NFTs now and you just hold it for the long term, even if you overpay for it now, I think that in the deep future, it will become extremely collectible, just like vintage cars are, just like vintage video games, baseball cards.
You're talking about a 20, 30-year hold.
Yeah, I don't even think of that far. I think 10 years, 10 to 15 years. I mean,
Nostalgia usually is 20, 30 years.
yeah, I mean, but look at all the crazes, Star Wars. Like, you think of it, and crypto's not going to go anywhere. And sure, there'll be some kind of new NFTs out there, maybe ticketing or album art or who knows? Who knows where this industry will go? But what is desirable now that is a flash in the pan, I think that will in the future draw a very, very hefty price tag just because you got a bunch of millionaires that are going to want to go down memory lane and hold some NFTs. I don't know.
Let's hope so. I got a bunch of spam NFTs that I would love to offload. So I hope you're right, man. Because let me ask you guys this: do you guys have any NFTs right now in any of your wallets?
Yeah, they're all worth 0. Yeah, I do.
I don't have very much.
I have some. So are you saying a Bored Ape is a good pickup at 12 ETH?
I think so. I think that in the future,
You're crazy.
David.
okay, I'll say this: in the future, it will be worth more than it is now, and I think it'll be worth substantially more. Now, whether or not it's better to take 12 ETH and just keep it as Ethereum, because maybe Ethereum will be worth 50 times more than it is now in 10 years. I'm not saying that, hey, from a risk reward, where's the price of the NFT going now? But I'll just say this: I think that they're going to be very sought after. And I don't know what's a better investment right now, whether it's an altcoin or an NFT, but I'm telling you, these desirable NFTs are going to circle back around. That I adamantly believe in. So
Okay, how about this? NFTs or Caspa?
I think Caspa. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's
You're
That's
about
good.
to-
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
What about you,
like
Rob?
God, Caspa.
Caspa,
Like, I
okay.
mean, come on. Caspa, Cardano, ICP, whatever you guys
Let's
like.
ask the chat, who a lot of times is Caspa Degens. What would you hold? A Bored Ape? Would you hold the value of a Bored Ape in Caspa? So 12 ETH worth of Caspa. Or would you hold one Bored Ape for a 10-year hold? Put a 1 in the chat for Caspa. Put a 2 in the chat for that Bored Ape.
Mm.
I want to know. 12 ETH worth of Caspa. I don't know what that even translates to,
That's
but
a lot.
Hey, one of my regrets is, and maybe you can get you guys getting him on the show, Jeremy Da Vinci.
Yes, we've had him on the show.
yeah, he was on there.
Did you guys ask him why he's so big into Caspa?
No.
We didn't talk about Caspa. No.
Could
We
you get him
talked-
back on? Because I was supposed to ask him at the party and I forgot to ask him. I think I had too much wine. But if you could do that, that'd be great. Because we were talking. He's like, yeah, Caspa would be great. And I'm like, all right. And I just couldn't get back to him. So if you could do that for him, that'd be great. I think
For
maybe
sure.
people would want to hear this too.
I think and we've had
He's a great guest. Yeah, I'll reach it back out.
Yeah, we've had the Caspa guys in here. We reach out to them regularly. We do a lot of Caspa content on the channel. So those guys are good, man. They're good. They're bought in. It's the closest thing to Bitcoin as far as fundamentally the launch. Tech is better. They got their token standard, right? The version 2 coming out, right? Smart contracts. And so I'm a big Caspa fan. I know a lot of our community members are Caspa fans, but yeah, man, we can definitely do that. Bring them on and talk about it. But that'll do it for the show today. We want to give a big thank you to our special guest, Rob. Now I'll kind of give you the floor, my friend. Any parting words?
Just realize that nothing goes up forever. And I can kind of see that this is going to be choppy and it's going to kind of suck for a while. So I'm just giving you the real deal. I like this show because you guys are not moon boys and you guys don't just say it's going to go up forever. You guys give reality. So I like shows like this to come on to just go, hey, look, to be an investor, if it was easy, everybody would do it. So if you're here now, I think you're going to be in the right place at the right time. It just takes time.
Amen to that.
Bored Ape will go up forever.
No, it's not.
Except for that part. That part was ridiculous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Crypto Almanac dropping soon,
Okay.
2025 version,
Rocco.
and all of our favorite price
his mic,
predictions
Chase.
are coming to a bookstore
Cut his mic. Yeah. Okay.
digital version.
Also, want to give a be quiet. Want to give a big thank you to our amazing production team, Chase, Ashley, and Rocco. Thank you guys so much. All of you tuning in, we love you. We will see you tomorrow. We got Kyle Langham from Dfinity joining us for the live show. Don't miss it.
Entertainment and info, gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.